Hello, I'm Celeste Lawson and I will be presenting our research project, Self-Regulated Tertiary Research Initiative for Vibrant Education, or STRIVE. Undergraduate university students are busier than ever, often juggling paid work and caregiving responsibilities with demanding university schedules. Combined with recent challenges in the tertiary education sector, these pressures have reignited interests in cost-effective, high-quality and flexible online delivering models. An emerging trend in the sector is self-paced learning, where students don't have to fit their learning into a university semester and there might be flexible due dates for assessments. In other words, students with internet access and a laptop can study at a time and place that suits them. At CQ University, this is called hyperflexible learning. Our university already offers hyperflexible postgraduate units, and we wanted to know what the experience would be like for students and staff if hyperflexible units were offered at an undergraduate level. Hyperflexible learning approaches remove all time-based constraints on students. Our STRIVE project aimed to investigate the feasibility of a hyperflexible learning approach, which we called HyFlex, for undergraduate education. It draws on CQU's position as a leader in flexible learning. There were 4 broad research questions for this project. We wanted to find the advantages, disadvantages, and any issues that undergraduate students might experience in a HyFlex model, challenges that academic teaching staff might face when implementing HyFlex models for undergraduate students, how engagement and retention impacted or influenced students in a HyFlex learning model, and synthesizing the responses, what recommendations can be made about HyFlex models in undergraduate courses. We selected 4 Bachelor of Arts units to a HyFlex model and removed assessment due dates throughout the term. There were 2 history units and 2 communication units. The humanities was a good fit for our pilot because they attract a wide range of students and don't have tests or exams and had fewer restrictions like external accreditation. We tracked student engagement through weekly surveys and we conducted pre and post interviews with all students who undertook the HyFlex pilot. We surveyed Bachelor of Arts staff on their attitudes towards HyFlex learning, and we asked all HyFlex teaching staff to keep a journal during the term delivering their HyFlex adapted units. Our first steps were to receive ethics clearance, recruit participants, and prepare the units to be delivered in a HyFlex mode. We received ethical clearance in mid-December 2020 and launched the STRIVE project in Term 1 of 2021 in 2 units, 1 history and 1 communication unit. In Term 2, again, 2 units, both communication units. Only 1 Term 2 unit was planned and we expanded it to 2 due to participant numbers. Students were emailed in advance of the term starting, and we also emailed students who had the unit on their study plan in case they changed their minds about the unit based on being able to take it in HyFlex mode. We also set up a Moodle tile. Moodle is our learning management system with information about the project which students could access when they accessed their Moodle site. We removed all of the weeks from the unit and renamed them as topics instead. The unit content was self-paced via short recorded videos and interactive learning modules rather than traditional lectures. There were opportunities for learning with other students like live Zoom tutorials, but these were not compulsory. A few changes were required to Moodle for assessments to easily work in HyFlex mode. We set up 2 separate groups, one HyFlex and one higher education, and students would then nominate their group, which would show them the correct assessment information. You'll see there traditional due dates is what the higher education students saw, and the HyFlex version removed those due dates. There were 30 participants across 4 units. As you can see, 3 of the 4 units, the split between higher education and Strive was pretty even. In the advanced level unit, there was only one student who elected to study in high flex mode. It's likely because this was a project-based student or project-based unit that required very limited contact already. Student experiences. Participants said that flexibility was a key driver for participating in the Strive project. Most students elected to submit their assessments around the same time or later than usual. Participants also noted flexibility was the biggest strength of HyFlex. It allowed their students to take a little bit of extra time when they were struggling, juggling competing unit demands. For example, if they were studying 4 units and had 4 assessments due in the 1 week, and be able to take extra time if the family was ill or travelling for work. On the balance, students who took part had a positive experience. One said, if it wasn't hyperflexible, I wouldn't have passed. Several students noted how assessment deadlines were a significant source of stress and relished the freedom to fit study around their life rather than the other way around. Several said it made it easier to accommodate their work and family commitments. One student said they were thrilled when they heard about the hyperflexible option because I am a very anxious student and deadlines really stressed me out. Participants who performed well said they still found accountability a concern and they had ways to keep themselves accountable. They did want some more accountability, such as connections with other peers in the project or teachers reaching out when the participant was approaching their own self-set milestones. Other students suggested the quality of their learning was better in a hyperflexible model as they were able to go deeper on a topic that interested them and not have it reserved for one particular week. It was suggested that the hyperflexible unit allowed study in a more intensive way. Most students remained the same or improved in their grade from a normal traditional higher education unit, and there were 2 absent fail grades where students did not complete the unit. Students also raised some concerns. Several noted that it felt a bit isolating and disconnected, like they were the only student doing it and that they're not participating in the university experience. Others were worried they might not receive the same level of feedback from staff and there might be a temptation to leave everything to the last minute. Staff experiences. A survey was sent to the Bachelor of Arts teaching staff where anonymously staff could complete the survey. There were 12 staff who returned the survey. Teaching staff of hyperflexible adopted units were also completed weekly journals and an end of term interview. University staff were generally more cautious about the benefits of hyperflexible learning. Common concerns were students would lose their sense of being part of a group, feel lost or overwhelmed, allow assignments to pile up, and it could ultimately see more students dropping out. Staff were also concerned that no due dates would increase their workload. They noted they would be less free to take leave or attend conferences if they did not have a reasonable expectation when their marking would be due. Even when students were being taught the same content, there were new challenges, and as one staff member said, I feel as though I am managing 2 cohorts. Staff members did see benefits in hyperflexible learning, and most said they were willing to experiment with it. Several commented on the potential for motivated students to finish their degrees faster. One staff member noted that having now taught a hyperflexible unit, I have confidence that most students get there in the end. Staff in their staff learning journals stated that hyperflexible doesn't add to staff workloads, but it can change the way that time is conceptualised for staff. Our study suggests removing due dates from undergraduate units has potential to make university study more accessible and less rigid while reducing student stress. One key issue is how students can maintain a sense of being together in a group, receive support, and feel a connection to their university. It doesn't necessarily prevent attrition in students who were likely to attrite anyway. For educators, hyperflexible learning is a distinct form of teaching, and staff members would need to be adequately trained and supported. This way of teaching is individualistic and seeks to fit study around the needs of each student. To some extent, this is in conflict with the ideal of university as a learning community. Although the responses to the pilot program were largely positive, there is still a lot more we need to know about the impact of removing due dates and time pressures. For example, although due dates were removed, students still had to complete their assessments within the semester due to university and government policies. Also, while this approach might fit the assessment-focused humanities, we don't know how this works in disciplines that are more heavily exam-driven, like health or IT. Ultimately, risks associated with hyperflexible learning and the impact on both staff and students need to be considered carefully before adopting these approaches for undergraduate students. Thank you very much.